Good evening, folks. I'd like to call to order tonight's meeting, August 20th, 2024, the Irmo Town Council. At this moment, I'd like to call on Councilman Penfield for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation, please. Thank you, Gabe. Okay, so right now, next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Having been appropriately motioned, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously, Madam Clerk. We will go to the next item, reading of the minutes from July 9th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Having appropriately been motioned, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. Reading of the minutes for the July 16th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Is there a second? Second, having been appropriately motioned, is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously, Madam Clerk. Report of standing. Courtney, anything new?
If I can just point out a couple highlights out of the administrative briefing. Oak Strip met on August 13th. They are in critical need of some buses still. Our previous vendor is no longer providing that service. They hope to have a solution at their August 27th meeting. Planning Commission met on August 12th and discussed the water walk development. The proposal was not recommended by Planning Commission. The developer is currently deciding on whether to revise that plan or proceed to council as it was presented. If it's revised, it'll go back to the Planning Commission at September 9th. If it stays as is, it'll be presented to council on September 17th. Events Committee met on August 15th. They discussed a ribbon cutting for the Rawls Creek Park that we hope to have open in about mid-December, pending the contractor wrapping up. They are planning other future events, including a Halloween trunk or treat and a chili cook-off. Their next meeting is September 5th. Staff did attend a Friars Gate Rec Center presentation facilitated by Councilwoman Coleman, and we gave a short presentation on code enforcement. We also gave a update to Vision 2035 at the Chamber Luncheon on August 14th. A reminder, our auditors will be on site starting tomorrow to go through our fiscal year 23-24 audit books, or books for audit, and we'll have that for you later on this year. Rawls Creek is wrapping up. The walking trails are near completion. The electrical and lighting is being installed, and we, again, hope to have that open about early, mid-September. I did attend a meeting today about the Highway 6, Highway 60 corridor study. Members there were included Lexington County, Richland County, DOT, Central Midlands Council of Government. They are working on putting that study together. They've asked us to help with the public engagement and pushing out some of their website and materials for that study. And two last things, our new code inspector has started. He started July 19th. I've included some statistics in your briefing. If you want some other variation of his statistics, let me know and I'll adapt that. And then lastly, I pushed out yesterday, an ATAX application that came in late from Scott Jones for y'all to consider tonight. A lot going on.
That certainly is. You can, or I can certainly tell DOT or the counties or the COG If they want public engagement from the town of Irmo on the Highway 6 corridor, all they have to do is come to one of our meetings. That'll be all the public engagement they're going to need. So that's a good thing. They're working on it. That's not such a good thing. That means we got a long way to go. Okay, next up, new in-town businesses. Councilman, what do you have?
Yeah, the town has a number here, catching up from the last couple of meetings, I think. SIP Social, Elevated Wellness Haven, the Maternal Healing Haven, Sergeant Fitness, What a Burger, Carolina Fine Jewelry, Jennifer Gerber Play Therapy and Counseling, Mrs. Goodfoot, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Welcome to town.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
The consideration of communications, if we'd all come down front, we need to make a presentation here. Or two, or three. Okay, tonight is, it's our honor to award the Business of the Month to Bart's Crazy Good Coffee, and I understand Don Terry is here. Don? Come on down. How are you? Good to see you, sir. This basically says they are the small business of the month. And this is an exciting moment, I think. It's a shame that Bart couldn't be here
Unfortunately, no.
and what he's going through. Would you like to tell us a little bit about Bart's Coffee and the whole 9 yards?
Well, I've known Bart for several years, and we built the Irmo location together last year. It's been very successful. Bart is an incredibly hardworking man, but he really appreciates the town of Irmo and what you guys have offered him, so we do appreciate it.
We appreciate him too. Thank you. All right. Okay. Ladies first. I'm not going to do this by myself, so I'm going to ask for you to help out here. We've had some incredible honors athletically in the town of Irmo and our surrounding schools within the Lexington-Richland District 5. Anytime anything Irmo has an outstanding athletic season, we like to recognize that. So with that, I want to read a proclamation. Watch this not being ordered. It's not. It is. Okay, we're going to read a proclamation honoring the 2024 Irmo Little League Senior League softball team. Whereas the 2024 Little League Senior Softball team displayed extraordinary skill and determination by reaching the championship game of the Senior League World Series in Sussex County, Delaware, and whereas the team showcased remarkable resilience by rebounding from a 1-3 showing in pool play, ultimately winning 2 crucial games, and whereas the team demonstrated exceptional teamwork and tenacity, securing an 8-5 victory over Honolulu and advancing to the championship game against defending World Series champion and Central Region representative Beardstown, Illinois. And whereas although the Irmo Little League team fell short in the final game, they displayed remarkable sportsmanship and perseverance, and we celebrate you as state champions, Southeast Regional champions, and World Series runner-ups. And whereas the Irmo Town Council is extremely proud of the team's performance, teamwork, and the exemplary way that they represented Irmo on a national stage, showcasing the spirit and talent of our community. Now, therefore, the Irmo Town Council hereby recognizes and commends the 2024 Irmo Little League Senior League Softball team for its outstanding achievements and exemplary representation of our community. Your dedication, teamwork, and spirit have brought honor and recognition to the town of Irmo and Irmo Little League, and we celebrate your accomplishments in the 2024 Senior League Softball World Series. I'm assuming the coaches are here. Would you please come up and accept this proclamation? Don't everybody jump up at once. I know there's more than one coach. I coached a lot of Congratulations for an outstanding job. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Now we all know you guys don't play, right?
It's slow
So this
pitch, right?
award, excuse me?
It's slow pitch, right?
It's not slow. I mean, we know they don't play. So let's talk about the players, right? I mean, let's discuss who these gals are. And we want to bring them up, and Councilman, if you would
Yep.
award them as I call them off, please come up, and we want to recognize you as you come up. So, and then we're going to have you all stand up here. Line right up there with the guy who's in charge. He looks like he's in charge, so just... Okay, number 2, Bridget Keene.
Oh, she's not here.
Out of here. How about Brinley Pigat? Did I get that name right? Did I get the name right? Pigat?
Are we taking pictures?
Yes. Settle down there.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is
A lot to
Irmo.
do here.
Okay.
All right, don't run away now. Don't run away. Ada Lee Gaunt. Congratulations. Allie Bickley. McKenna Rima. KG Hill. Okay, KG. What does KG stand for?
Katie Grace.
Beautiful. Olivia Hill. You got a sister class. Regan Haggard. Layla Peppers. Eason Davis. Haley Alderman. And I'm assuming Sammy Stevenson and Stephanie James are not here tonight. So, a round of applause. The manager, Peter Von Eyck, thank you, thank you. Oh, sorry, Brian Jones, thank you. Aaron Reiner and Robert Peppers, thank you very much. Come on in, let's get
And I
it.
think there's a thing there as well. So go ahead
Find a window.
No, the tallest girl does not get to stand there.
Find the window. Find the window.
Come right over
and-
here.
yeah, find the window over here. Good call.
Back up some. Back up.
Where's the captain?
Now we're good. No, I cannot believe I can't stand up taller than any of these ladies.
There we go.
I know you've done this before. I've seen pictures.
Some of these girls are really tall.
3, 2, 1.
Congratulations. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Great job.
All right, moving on to the baseball team. I want to read this proclamation. Whereas the 2024 Irmo Little League Senior League Baseball team has shown exceptional dedication, skill, and sportsmanship, leading to their remarkable victory as the U.S. Senior League champions and World Series runner-ups. And whereas, after going undefeated and winning the state title, the Irmo Little League Senior Baseball team went on to Safety Harbor, Florida, to go 4-0 and win the Southeastern Championship. And the Little League, Irmo Little League team went on to win the World Series in Easley, South Carolina, to win 3 games that secured them the U.S. Championship. And although the Irmo team fell short in their final game for the World Series, they displayed remarkable sportsmanship and perseverance, and we celebrate you as state champions, Southeast Regional champions, United States champions, and World Series runner-ups. And the entire Irmo community celebrates the team's achievements and recognizes their hard work, dedication, and the positive representation of our town on the national stage. And the Irmo Town Council hereby recognizes and commends the 2024 Irmo Little League Senior League baseball team for their extraordinary performance and dedication, which has brought honor and recognition to the town of Irmo and Irmo Little League. Signed, William Danielson, Mayor.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. At this point, we'd like to call up the manager, Pete Van On. Pete, you here? And your coaches, Jason Jolly and Ethan Van On. Congratulations. Thank you. Great job. Great job.
Congratulations.
Okay. We'll, same thing here. We're going to call out the players who actually played the game and won the United States Championship and fell one game short, I believe, of the whole darn thing. So congratulations, guys. Brandon Johnson. Okay. I'm sorry, Braden Johnson. Reese Jolly. Raleigh Salters. They're still celebrating, obviously. Drew Greer. David Derrick. Felix Flicka. Griff Harper. Charlie Todd. Weston Plotner. I'm going to mess this name up for sure. Charlie Mejia. Jake Bogan. Ethan Offing. Caden Harris. Coleman Fryer. Denzel Posey. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm screwing with him because I know his dad.
All right.
Can you
Okay.
look at that?
Trying to help out. That's what I do.
Last but not least, Colby Smith. Again, United States champions, come on in here, let's get some pictures. Just don't worry about it. Tall guys on the end, just don't block the mayor.
That would be me. They're all on the end.
Well, that's true, they're all tall. I mean, they're all tall.
We're fighting for some.
We're smiling.
Camera looks like 3, 2, 1.
Good job, guys. Thank you for being here. I think that wraps it up for that. You gotta like the fun part of this job. These are the fun times. So thank you very much. Congrats to both teams. We can't say enough about how proud you've made Irmo in our area, in our town. Thank you. Councilwoman, would you tell us about the community connections, please?
Yes, sir. First, we have the Zumba in the Park on Friday, August 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m. That's in the Moore Park at the Prisma Health Amphitheater. This event is free and open to the public. Stingfest 2024 will also take place on August 23rd from 5 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. at W.C. Hawkins Stadium in the back lot by Emery Lane. If you have a business or an organization that would be interested in participating, please contact the Irmo Student Council at irmostudentcouncil@gmail.com by August 22nd if you'd like to participate. There will be a free STEM Fest for students in grades kindergarten through 12th, sponsored by Clemson, STEM South Carolina. This will be held on Saturday, August 24th from 9 a.m. to noon, and registration is requested at www.clemson.edu/STEM-SC. This event will be held at Spring Valley High School. On Tuesday, August 27th, from 5:30 to 7:30, we will have our National Night Out in Moore Park. This is an event which highlights free food, music, vendors, games, and prizes. It's an opportunity to relate to the Irmo Police Department and meet your neighbors and law enforcement. And finally, I just wanted to remind everyone that the Lexington Medical Center Irmo Okra Strut will take place on September 27th and 28th. We now have the announcement of the entertainment for Friday and Saturday night. Friday night, the opener will be Simply Shania, followed by Cowboy Mouth. And then on Saturday, the opener will be the winner of the Irmo Battle of the Bands, Say Femme, who will be opening for Absolute Queen. Again, this is the Irmo Okra Strut, and it will be held in Moore Park. And that concludes my community connections.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Okay, next up on the agenda is presentation by citizens. These are only agenda items 9 and 10. There's no one signed up. This will be last call for 9 and 10 if anybody would like to get up and say something. You've got 3 minutes. Ed, don't need to remind you. If you would give the name and address for the record books, I'd appreciate it.
Ed Greco, 16 Palmetto Wood Court, Palmetto Park. I'd like to talk about 2 items, if I may, please. I want to thank the town for its due diligence in looking at the spectrum easement that will be needed for Bickley Station. Really appreciate the work that went into ensuring that the continuity of infrastructure, which is important to the residents of Palmetto Park, is ensured. So thank you very much, town, on that. The other one is the work that you will be voting on tonight in regards to the gazebo. We all look forward to the gazebo in Veterans Park, and I want to thank the town for that also. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll close that portion of the meeting, and we're going to move on to unfinished business. A, second and final reading of ordinance 2411 to amend Appendix A, zoning and land development regulations, Article 3, zoning regulations for use of lots, by adding Section 3-11 traffic analysis, and this was first presented to the Planning Commission and comes recommended from them. This will require a traffic impact analysis if a development exceeds 50 trips per peak hour to be administered by the town and paid for by the developer. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, we'll open for discussion, and I would call on you, Councilman, since you motioned.
I'm in favor, and the reason why is I don't think it's a good idea to continue to yield the space to SCDOT and just the developer, and allow the town to have a more of a hand in the decision. And traffic obviously is a big deal right now, and for us to have that kind of information and for us to be able to construct a little bit of the foundation of that study is important. So I'm in favor.
Councilwoman?
I'm in favor also for the same reasons that Councilman Sickinger mentioned, and also just to reiterate that this ordinance will now trigger a traffic analysis, a traffic impact analysis with only 50 trips per hour, so at a lower level. So again, that giving us a little more control over controlling traffic.
Councilwoman Coleman, comments?
No, I just support what has already been said, and I like the fact that the town is taking a more proactive engagement in trying to address concerns of our citizens over traffic and any other concerns that might come up as we develop Irmo more. For us to have to participate hand in hand with the developers so that we have some modicum of control, I think is a very good thing.
Thank you.
Nothing to add.
All right. I might just add one comment. Doug or Courtney, whichever one wants to jump to that, what triggers the peak of 50? How do we determine that based on a development?
I'll let Doug speak to that.
So somebody wants to come in and put in 200 houses in a subdivision in a donut hole that we have here, that automatically going to trigger that? What's the determining factor?
Sure. As part of this, we're going to be hiring a traffic consultant to do these traffic impact analyses for us. And so whenever a developer comes in, or even like, the new Whataburger or whatever, we would talk with that consultant and determine what that traffic impact was going to be and whether or not it will be triggered. And so if it's a small development, maybe it won't. But even a Whataburger would probably trigger 50 trips per hour at peak hour in the afternoon, at least. And so 200 homes would definitely trigger that. And so, but they will be able to determine whether or not it hits that trigger.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was trying to get clear on. Okay, having heard everyone's comments, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business. Approval of Resolution 24-09, pledging to practice and promote civility in the town of Irmo. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, having been appropriately motioned, I would like to open the discussion that I brought this to the table after spending 3 or 4 days with the other municipalities at our annual conference. And we've basically ratified this to do this unofficially, the civility pledge, but it seems to be even taking on more importance in the town of Irmo as we move forward. So I'm going to read this pledge to you, and we're going to see it if it is approved tonight. You'll be seeing this resolution. You'll be seeing this pledge in a lot of places, primarily when you come to this municipal building. A lot of our documentation and notices will have it on there, so I'd like to take a minute to read it. The Irmo Town Council pledges to practice and promote civility within the governing body. The elected officials of the council enact the civility pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of the town of Irmo. This pledge ensures all communication, both spoken and written, to be open, honest, and transparent, as this is vital for the cultivating trust and relationships. This pledge ensures mutual respect to achieve municipal goals, recognizing that patience, tolerance, and civility are imperative to success. This pledge ensures opportunities for finding common ground and engaging in civil discussion to seek solutions while actively listening and thoughtfully participating. I would just like to move, we've had it motion. Any other comments, or do we go right to the vote? Okay, hearing that. Renee, will you call the roll?
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Thank you. Item B, approval of Resolution 2410 to ratify budget amendments for fiscal year 23-24 totaling $480,755. This is brought to us by the staff. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, I will call for discussion, and probably would just call on Courtney to tell us about this.
Sure, Mr. Mayor and Council. As I mentioned earlier, we're wrapping up our fiscal year 23-24 books. So we need to ratify the budget with some approvals that y'all made last fiscal year, such as $150,000 to do the improvements to the Irmo Community Park. That was done by Corley Lawn and Construction. The comp plan that was approved for $120,000 to Stewart Incorporated. Another $180,000 for project management through LCK, and $29,975 for electrical work at the Rawls Creek Park. I think this was putting in the pedestals for the, and all the electrical for the dog parks and the key fob system out there. So what this does is ratify the budget to make amendments to it.
Quick question, is this unusual?
No, we do it every year.
Is this amount unusual?
It varies year to year. It just depends on how much y'all want to approve outside of the normal budget. So some years it's less, some years, I think last year was 800. 800,000, does that sound about right? Yeah, last year was around 800,000, but that was significant improvements to the Rawls Creek Park. So again, this fiscal year, we'll probably see a number in that range. Those are things that are carrying over.
All right, any comments?
Again, just to reiterate, these are items that council has already approved the expenditures. We're just now approving the amendment of the budget.
Correct. So these were outside of the approved budget that you passed prior to July. These were things that came up throughout the fiscal year that you authorized on top of the current budget. So at the end of the year, we closed the books by adding that number into our budget numbers as amended. Mr. Moore, it reminds me that, you know, as the auditors are coming through, we're still expecting a surplus this year, so I wouldn't get too hung up on this number. And again, I usually, when these items come up, I'm usually briefing you that the budget can usually tolerate some of these expenditures that were outside of what you initially approved.
Will the clerk read the roll?
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Item C, approval of Resolution 2411, committing to provide a local match up to $25,000 for the Municipal Association of South Carolina Economic Development Grant. This is a matching grant that, if awarded, would assist in funding a townwide signage plan that would include the design and location of welcome signs, wayfinding signs, banners, utility box wraps, and bespoke street signage. This is brought to us by the staff. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, I will open for conversations. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I'm in favor because I like what the outcome, what's going to happen as a result, which is an upgrade to how visitors and residents will perceive the town through some of these upgrades, and will take us out of the metal stake in the ground that's rusted territory and take us into something that looks good and reflects the quality of the character of the people that live here and the time and value that staff put into the work that they do.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
I'm in support of this resolution. I'm particularly glad to see that it has wayfinding signs within this project. I think that'd be a great addition.
Councilwoman, anything?
No more to add.
One more to add?
I'd like to thank staff for all the work on this.
Okay. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Next item, approval of contract with Lexington Richland School District 5 to provide a school resource officer to Irmo Elementary Schools. Brought to us by the Police Department. This would continue the previous contract where Lexington Richland 5 will pay 75% of the costs associated with placing an SRO in Irmo Elementary. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having been appropriately, first and have appropriately been motioned, I will call for discussion. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I remember when we made the decision to put an SRO at IES, that there was some consternation about, how it was all going to work and who was going to pay for it. So I'm excited to see and pleased to see that this is going to continue. The only question I have is the term always 1 year? Okay. I'm guessing due to the budgets on the school side.
Yeah, that, and it's usually accompanied by, like your next item, the grant. So those are done yearly as well. So.
Great. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Yes, I would like to thank Chief Dale and the staff that worked on this, putting together this grant and getting, this grant and working with the school district. Just looking at our packet, there were 36 pages of documents in here with a lot of details that look like it probably took a lot of time and resources to wade through this. So thank you very much.
I'd like to get confirmation, not so much that we have the school resource officer, but that this is a preventive measure as opposed to responding to anything negative. For our community to understand that we're being proactive and
Sure.
making sure nothing happens.
Sure, anytime you have an officer already at the school, then they're there prepared for anything that goes on. And just to let you know, if you vote no, we'll have to go through the eviction process on the officer from the school, so he's already there.
Good, thank you.
I have nothing to add.
This is, believe it or not, people will call us about stuff like this. And I'm also glad you mentioned how many documents were in this. When the council gets a package to prepare for these meetings, it's always 150 pages, up to 350 pages. There's a lot that goes into a lot of this, and we all happily take it on, and we're all prepared for this kind of thing. And this came up last year, a couple of years ago, and everything that I've seen from Irmo Elementary is a huge, huge success with this program. Absolutely a huge success. So kudos to you, Chief, and our SRO who's there. So thank you. Okay, we have a call.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Next item is approval to accept a grant award of $37,297 from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety State School Resource Officer Program. Try that quickly, it's a mouthful. This will cover 25% of the funding for an SRO in Irmo Elementary. So 75 plus 25 means we're not spending money to do this, just in case I need to give you that logic from a total standpoint. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, open for discussion. Councilman? Gabe?
I'm always happy to accept external resources.
Thank you. Ladies, anything? Okay, will you call for the roll, please?
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman.
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Not easy as it looks, is it? Next up on the list, approval of utility easement with Spectrum Southeast for the installation of fiber internet brought to us by Public Works. This will grant a utility easement onto the Irmo Veterans Park property to bury fiber internet cable accessing Bickley Station. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Having been appropriately motioned, we'll open for discussion. Councilman Sickinger.
I don't think I have anything to add.
Anything, Gabe?
Nothing.
Nothing? Councilwoman?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Mr.
Wow.
Mayor, if I can just
I
give
have
you
a lot to say.
Okay,
Let me get this out, and then we'll go to
sure.
what you want to tell us. We have to provide, we need to do what we can to provide service to the people who are going to buy real estate in that subdivision. Although I will tell you, in the 5 years I've been sitting up here, just the last 7 months as mayor, any time now I hear about an easement for somebody digging in the ground, I get heartburn, I get angina, and I come on with headaches, okay? And that's before we even approve it, all right? I mean, people are breaking pipes, cutting lines, hitting water. I want to know what we can do to hold and I know you know the answer to all this, but I want the folks to know that we think about this and talk about this all the time, all right? And that's one of the number one issues is what is our park going to look like, the Veterans Park, when these people are done digging it up, right? What's the road going to look like when these people in Palmetto Parkway are trying to go home driving over steel crates for 6 months because they haven't completely closed the road up? What are we going to do about that, and how do we hold their feet to the fire?
What I was going to mention is that the easement is 12 feet from the sidewalk, and the intention was to keep them from boring under the current right-of-way, which does include gas, water, sewer. There was just a lot crammed in right in that general area. And so when talking with them, they had mentioned that, you know, if they could just get off of that right-of-way a little bit, it would be less likely that they would hit something. So me and Whit went out there and took a look at it. It would be coming close to some of our irrigation system in there, but that's a lot easier to repair than a gas line. As far as holding their feet to the fire, you know, a lot of that's done under these franchise agreements. They've got to replace and repair things that they damage or destroy. We've met with this particular contractor, and you know, we'll hold them accountable to it. I think this is probably a larger issue with right-of-ways. I don't think the intentions of right-of-ways was meant to be so crammed with, you know, 15 different utilities. So I don't know what the solution is for that, except that, you know, monitoring and granting additional easements when it makes sense.
Can we require a $1 million bond to be posted? Or something anywhere in that range, $100,000 bond to be posted? By the contractor, not necessarily Spectrum?
Most of this is regulated by the Secretary of State. So when it comes to cable and fiber, a lot of that's regulated through a franchise through the state. So
Point of
I don't have an
information.
answer to that.
I know that that's something that I've talked with our town attorney Will about, and when we were at the municipal conference for the state of South Carolina, I met with the legal, what's his name? The legal advisor, Eric Schuyler, yeah, about this same issue. And he didn't have any answers for me on hand, but I'm curious, Will, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there something maybe you can brief us on at the workshop coming up about the rights and responsibilities of operating in the easement and the rights and responsibilities of the town and keeping it orderly and fair and clean and making sure that the operators hold up their end of the bargain?
If it appears that I am beating a dead horse, haven't beat this horse enough. I mean, not even close. We're going to get bombarded with emails. And I know it as sure as my name is Bill Danielson sitting up here. And I think we've all kind of, and you made me feel all warm and fuzzy that the Secretary of State's going to handle this. Did you hear my speech at the Chamber of Commerce last week? You know, just kind of throwing that out there. So I want the folks to know we're doing our damnedest to keep anything from Ed, I know you're back there, because I know this is going to be a problem. So we're going to have to stay on top of it and try to make the best, try to make some chicken salad out of this stuff. Yes, sir.
They send us the easement that they propose. That is a proposed easement. You can take that easement and modify the language in it that requires that the property be put back like it was. It can require that basically any utility damage would be done in an expedited fashion. You can require that the road be put back to where there's not any potholes, sinks, or whatever, and that if there is any modification to the roadway, that it can be done in a day, 2 days, 5 days, whatever you tell us that you want. So that it could, but the easement basically says, okay, it is subject to these conditions from the town. The actual language of the easement generally should contain language not only granting them the easement, but granting them a construction easement and a maintenance easement, setting forth the actual terms and provisions of what construction will look like, what they will do in case of a defect, and how long they're going to bother the people in that neighborhood. And I believe that Mr. Edwards is perfectly capable of talking with their easement right-of-way people and securing language that you'll like. Can I guarantee you that it'll fix it? No, but if the language is in there and they understand that we're the franchisor and we understand that we expect them to honor their word, I got a feeling they'll basically do that.
I trust you implicitly.
Thank you.
I don't trust them,
I don't either.
right? And if there's no financial ramification, I don't, that's the fear here. So
We can put a penalty
We'll work on
clause-
that.
We can put a penalty clause in it.
that's what I want. Now you're talking my language.
All right, we can do that.
Okay.
Will that require, can we do that? Post-mortem is not the right word, but
What you can do is this.
yeah.
You can basically approve the idea of an easement in principle, subject to a review at the next council meeting to review the actual language of the easement that you want added in there.
Would you suggest an amendment then?
An amendment to the easement?
No, amendment to the motion.
The motion should basically, in my humble opinion,
Yeah.
simply say that we're moving forward to approve the easement right now, subject to modifications to be created by Mr. Edwards and approved at the next council meeting.
All right. I make a motion to amend the motion on the floor to include, to start with ending where we are and then starting with subject to modifications suggested by the town attorney in conjunction with the town administrator to be finalized at the next council meeting.
Is there a second to the amendment?
Second.
Councilman Penfield seconded for you, Renee. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote on the amended motion. And would you call the roll?
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Now I'd like to call for a vote, if you would call the roll on the original motion.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Jake. Okay, approval of construction plans for new gazebo at the Irmo Veterans Park, brought by Public Works. I will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Second. Having been appropriately motioned, we're open for discussion, and I would call on Courtney or our Public Works Director, Whit, if you'd like to. Whoever wants to offer this up would be great.
The proposal is to have Great Southern Homes build a 16 by 16 gazebo in the Irmo Veterans Park. It would be located about 25 feet behind the flags that are already in place.
You got any more details for us?
No,
that's okay.
The base of it will be bricks. The sidewalk will be flush when you walk into the gazebo. Be constructed out of pressure-treated hardwood. Have the bricks will be red color and the shingles will be black.
Is this to any cost to the town?
Zero.
Zero. That's what I like to hear. Thank you, Whit. Any?
What's the size in relation to the one in the town park?
It's not that big. It doesn't need to be that big. It would look that gazebo would look out of place down there.
Right, I'm just curious how it's smaller.
It's smaller, yes. At least.
The plans show this one is 19. Is that 16?
Is it not, if it says 19, it's 19, yes.
Okay.
So that this land was originally donated to us by Dr. Gurham as part of a project. And his intention was where Bickley Station is, he used to own that land, and he had ideas of putting a senior living facility there. And his idea was to build the gazebo in conjunction with the senior living facility. His plans have changed, and he sold that property to Great Southern Homes, who did honor that original agreement of building the gazebo. So that's why they're in the loop now. And it is going to be completely at their expense. They've been the ones that drew up these plans, and they're the ones that are going to do the construction.
Any other comments?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm really excited about this because I think our Veterans Park, 5.5 years ago when I first was on council, wasn't even in Google Maps. I didn't even know it existed. If you searched for Irmo Veterans Park, nothing came up. And it's underutilized. It's kind of like the little secret of the Palmetto Woods folks, which they kind of like that. But at the same time, we held a Veterans Day event there, and a number of the council folks were there. And it was raining that day, and we were all just standing out there in the rain, and we didn't have any cover. And my hope is that this gives people an opportunity to enjoy that space a little bit more.
Again, good planning, forward planning by everybody involved in this. Thanks to Dr. Gurham for putting that in place. If there are no other comments from up at the dais, I will call for the roll.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you, Whit. Next item up, approval to close portions of St. Andrews Road, Church Street, and Eastview Drive during the annual Okra Strut Festival from September 27th to the 28th, 2024, brought by the Police Department. Portions of the roadways will be closed for the parade and the festival. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, having been appropriately motioned, I will call on the chief to tell us about this because he hasn't been able to talk enough tonight. Tell us something, chief.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so Friday night, we'll have a lot of roads around the community, around Moore Park, that'll be closed off for pedestrians and traffic flow. And then Saturday morning, the parade from St. Andrews Road from Westcott to Lake Murray Boulevard, all the roads will be closed. We have a work order in with CSX for slow order. We get a lot of pedestrians walking across the tracks, which is understandable, but we can do that through CSX, ask them to come through slow, which we've done. And we've already been in contact with DOT to do this as well. So it's a pretty routine thing that we do every year for the Okra Strut. Yes, sir.
Any comments from Deus? This is pretty routine stuff. All right, without, I will call on the roll.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Okay, moving to item I, appointments to the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee. There are 3 vacant positions available, and this comes to us from the staff. There is 1 opening to represent the lodging industry and 2 at-large seats available. Applications received from Roberto Brandon, would sit in the lodging, and William Reed and Scott Jones at large. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
For edification, we're moving as I just outlined, the 3, okay? That's correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? See no need to. All right, I will have Renee call the roll, please.
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Congratulations to Mrs. Brandon, Reed, and Jones. Thank you for stepping up. Next item, appointment, item J, appointment to the Planning Commission. 1 vacant position available, and that comes to us from the staff. Applications received from Robert Cox. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved for Robert Cox.
I'll second.
Having been appropriately motioned, call for any discussion. Hearing none, call for the roll. Renee?
Mr. Penfield,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
and Mayor Danielson.
Yes. Thank you all. That went fairly well. All right, next item up, item 11, presentation by citizens. Again, I'm going to remind folks of the newly approved resolution of civility in the town and in this municipal building. I'm going to also remind folks that they have 3 minutes. There's a light on the dashboard. When it gets flashing yellow, it's time to wrap it up. After 3 minutes, I will ask you to kindly sit down. It also, we don't require it, but I certainly appreciate people signing the roster ahead of time and letting us know that you want to speak. So first one up we have is Adam Rayner.
Hello, I'm Adam Rayner, 1030 Old Town Road, Irmo, South Carolina. I'm here about the water walk project. I'm definitely opposed of it. But the reason I'm here is because I'm really confused about a process that has been confirmed at the beginning of this meeting. So beginning of that, I wanted to make sure I was tracking the right information. So I was kind of confused on what amendments and rezoning, if that was different. But I'm going to refer to the town ordinance of Annex A, Article 1, Section 1-4. It pretty much says amendment is the rezoning in the terminology part. So that refers me back to what the actual process is for the amendments of rezoning property, which goes to Appendix A, Article 12, Section 12-5 Code Amendments. Now, that's where the confusion comes in at, because it's pretty clear that this process, I think. It's a numbered list. Number one was initiate the process, which it has been done. That's why we're here. Number two was the application, documents, permits, and apply for this stuff. Again, it has been done because that's why the planning committee met. But that's where my confusion starts, but I will go ahead, I will touch on that in a second. But the third part and the fourth part, they're already done too. The third part's public hearing. The fourth part is posting the property, posting a sign on the property. The fifth part is another confusion part, is being before council. Now, my confusion is none of this parts, none of these paragraphs does it say to go back to the planning commission. After it comes to council, it can go back to the planning commission, but there's no option to go back before. And it's not to go to say, hey, they told us to do this, so we got to go change this wording. And that's exactly what's going on. So, it gives some options about the planning commission and what they do and the referral, and I'm sure that's backdoor stuff, and I don't know if they did their part to push it towards council. It may have happened, but either way, it says, action by town council. So I'm concerned that with this wording that was said on the website and that was said before this meeting, that they're pushing it back to the planning commission. That's not an option, clear as day. The only option that the developers has, which it goes in the paragraph 2, is they can appeal their decision through circuit court, which is crazy, but that's how they appeal it. Or it comes to council. That's their two options. I do not understand, once again, how they're bringing it back to the planning commission. But I do want to go ahead and point out that when it does come to town council, because of whatever they think they got going on, the town council, according to the ordinance, has it been 3 minutes already? According to the ordinance, it gives them a chance to modify what it just says modify. Pretty much modify, and that's what I'm kind of concerned about in that wording. Because if they get an option to just change whatever they want to change at any given time, then there's no point of this whole process. So I'm pretty sure the modified is pretty much like on a town or legality type situation, but I wanted to point that part out too. And finally, after they go through all this, they go through their process, not go back and forth like they want to, they have to wait 12 months to be heard again before before the planning commission and council. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rayner. Mr. Rayner's the only one that signed up. Is there anybody else who wants to speak? Line up.
I live at 105 Shellcracker, and I don't really want to speak, but I feel like I have to speak. I just want to express how much the people in Irmo love their community, as seen in the last 2 public hearings. I mean, I was proud. There was a lot of people that were here, and they care. We are all called community stakeholders because we have a stake in the town of Irmo. We've lived here for 30-something years. We appreciate it, and we're proud of it. I would like to encourage that we plan to encourage home ownership, not a neighborhood with rentals. We want to keep this area stable, and home ownership keeps things stable. When you have a completely large area with rentals, you have a huge transient population. So I just appreciate the work y'all are doing, and I hope that we can positively move together in a way that everyone can be happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we're going to close a portion of public comments. And we have a discussion items, nothing to discuss here. Next item up would be executive session. Town council may act on items discussed in the executive session after returning from the executive session. Item A, contractual matter, discussion of negotiations incident to a proposed contract agreement for the new town hall project. Is there a motion to go in executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, folks, we'll be back. Oh, yeah. Well, he must love Irmo, 'cause he came back.
Shall versus may versus must. Right.
Must have been something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you know, lawyers, what are you gonna do? Do you have these people, you got these people signed up? Only one. Okay, thank you, folks. We are back from executive session. There were no votes taken, nothing acted on. Is there anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, folks.
Yeah, every meeting.